Tour Junkies.
What's going on, golf addicts? Welcome to the 2025 Mexico Open from Vidanta World.
When did they add a world to it?
I feel like that was just now. Did they just now do that?
I don't know. But does that mean
welcome to Tour Junkies World?
Welcome to the world of Tour Junk. And is it's like a theme park?
Yeah, it's like a theme park. You ride around. You're gonna they have like a bouncer ride where you can you can feel what it's like to be a bouncer. Like, I don't know if you know this, but Jake Knapp was a former bouncer. He's a defending champion. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They have a bouncer thing where you can, like, you pick a fight with a big guy and then they toss you out. You feel what it's like to be tossed out onto the road, maybe kicked in the gut.
Well, I have heard you have to like go over a peninsula of some sort, or a river or stream or something to get out onto this golf course. Like that's the only way you can get there. So there's a little bit of a ride just to get out onto the golf course.
To get into, well, you have to do the same thing to get into your neighborhood.
That's true. So I live in the Landings World.
Landings World. Pat Perry World.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I want to live in a world somewhere. Listen, we're going to do some betting picks today. We're going to have our friend Matt Every with us as always. He will be joining us very shortly. But yeah, welcome to the podcast. It's kind of a tough week. It's a tough week. We've had some, I would say the West Coast swing's been good. It's been better than it was last year, I think. The West Coast swing's come to an end. We're now in Mexico on the way to Florida for the Florida swing starting next week, I believe at the Cognizant at PGA National. And, before we know it, it'll be Players. Before we know it, it'll be Masters. And then we're off and running. So it's exciting times. We got to see an exciting Sunday finish. I mean, I would say you had P. Rog and Denny Mac, two guys who have never won anybody any money their entire career in terms of gambling. You had them up, up top, and you thought, this is going to be this is when it all happens. And Matt McNeely shoots a 30 or whatever on the front nine, which was absolutely insane. He was lapping the field, going nuts. I thought, well, this is in the bag. Matt McNeely is now elevated, winner of the RSM in the fall, gets his first win, been playing well, and now this is over. And Scotty starts making a thing. And then all of a sudden, here comes the robot. Lud is here, and Lud gets it done. For his second win on the PGA Tour, third win globally, if you count the one on the DP World Tour, obviously won the RSM. Hops on a plane straight to TGL, going down, I think, as we speak, as we record this show right now on a Monday. But he's a young man. He's a stud, and I don't know what else to say. Like, I feel like Torrey was built for him. He didn't play it well a few weeks ago. I can't remember if that was the week he was sick, but Torrey's a perfect golf course for the way he plays golf, and he did his thing. It is what it is. We missed it. A lot of other people hit it. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I would say is just that, I mean, it's another lesson that you got to have a short memory when it comes to golf and betting on golf. I mean, because I was, a little curious about what was going on with Lud after his last performance. But I'll give you credit. And I did this morning, by the way, DB, on the First Look show. I mean, you did mention, you said on our show last week that we may not bet him outright, but Lud was a very good DFS play, and he turned out to be a good DFS play. And I got to give a shout out to DB, because we had two folks in the Nut Hut Discord who had fantastic weeks. I don't know if you knew this, but our boy Money Marge won about 10 grand. And
no way.
And then Rob, I think Pirate 42, maybe Pirate 52, Pirate some number. I think
Rob's a pirate. He's an actual pirate. Like, he literally, he does work.
He lives in a world. He lives in a pirate world.
Yeah, Somalia world. He actually is a real pirate. He's not even a fake kid pirate. He really robs people.
Yeah, I think he won 15,000, or may have been flipped around. One of them won 10, one of them won 15. But either way, pretty damn good. And that's that's in the Nut Hut, DB. So.
I talked to Money March last week. Actually, had a phone call with Money March. He's helping us out with the Ryder Cup trip. But, that sounds like two guys who should be booking Ireland trips as we speak.
Yes.
That's what that sounds like. So if you've not already, we are going to Ireland. We are bringing you with us. Friends invited. It's going to be a great time. 5 of the top 30 courses in all of Ireland, 2 in the top 10 in all of Ireland. We're going to be playing. It's going to be a fantastic week. The link to the website is in the description of this podcast. You can click on that, get all the details. It tells you everything that's included, everything that's not included in the price of the trip. You can book it, pay for it, all right there, being put together by a great group out of Ireland. We travel. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Tour Junkies going overseas, doing the dang thing. Come play with us in Ireland. Come hang out with us. Come drink some nice Guinnesses on the east coast of Ireland with us. It's going to be fantastic stuff. So that sounds like two people who have definitely shored up their trip. And, you know, if you've been tailing us all year, you should probably also have some extra change in the pocket. Now, last week was the first week we haven't done great. And you know what, though, Pat? I said this on SoBet last week, too. I said, I don't love it. I don't love the board. I said it the previous week. I didn't love it last week. For that reason, I scaled back a lot. And I didn't play as much. So, like, I kind of mitigated it. You know, we were seeing all the videos of the rough at Torrey and hearing about how wet it was and juicy the rough was. And you had the weather on Thursday. I kind of felt like we'd see some carnage and there'd be a lot of, like, issues with, you know, maybe some chalk bombs out there. And I don't know if there were that many chalk bombs, but it just felt like a kind of a volatile week. And, I mean, with Denny McCarthy and Patrick Rodgers in the final group on Sunday, I would say that's volatility. You know, so
yeah.
There's some weeks where you just got to know what you got and just be like, you know what, I'm gonna pull this one back. I'm gonna scale back a touch, and I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hold on to my unit a little bit and just, you know, protect the units, and maybe not spend as much. So lesson, you know, word to the wise there. But congrats to Money Marge and Pirate Rob. That's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Do we just? I mean, I think we may have been saying this by now. At least you have already, I think. But is Patrick Rodgers just never going to win on the golfing tour?
Here's what I'll say:
is Denny McCarthy never going to win? I mean, what do we?
Okay, by the way, did you hear the broadcast talk about Denny's speed pickup? Did you see this?
I think I must have missed that.
Let me pull this up on Bet the Number here. Let me pull this up on Bet the Number, because if this is true, I think that could be interesting for old Denny Mac. Okay. Well, this Bet the Number is saying that his ball speed numbers for the Genesis were still only around 171 miles an hour, which is tour average, which I don't know. Let's see what he was. Let's just look at the last 50 rounds. 168 is his average for the last 50 rounds. He averaged 171 yesterday. I don't know. I heard them talking about that on the broadcast. Who knows? If Denny picks up speed, I think that could be very beneficial for him and maybe the little nudge that he needs to take it to the next level. Kind of like we saw Steven Yeager do a couple years ago, like seen a bunch of guys do. So while I have not been a Denny guy, and Denny does not, I don't feel like I have to, like I've lost money on a lot of guys through the years. Denny's not one of them, but I know a lot of people have. And if he has picked up some speed, I do think that helps him. So like I would be willing to, so I would say that's the X factor for him. For Patrick Rodgers, who already hits it a long way, hits it a long way. I knew this, and this is on me. I didn't pass this along to the Discord. And sometimes, you know, how this information bites us in the ass. Sometimes it works out. Most of the times it doesn't. But I knew Patrick Rodgers had our boy Goggs on the back going into Thursday.
Yeah.
I talked to Goggs, Austin Goggart, who is a fantastic caddy who we've known for a long time, who's kind of been bouncing around. And he's not had a great break on some bags here lately, but he's a really good caddy. And his record with Patrick Rodgers, him and P. Roger boys, they've been friends a long time. His record with Patrick Rodgers is insanely good. It's so good. It further makes me just want to smack Patrick Rodgers around a little bit, because his record with P. Rog is so good. He almost won the year he almost won Hilton Head, or was that Eric Van Reen? He flipped somebody with his, maybe it was with Eric Van Reen, because his brother caddies for EVR. Anyway, let's say he's caddied for P. Rog like 4 or 5 times. Every time he's caddied for him, they've been like top 10, top 15. I think they've come close a couple times. And then P. Rog just goes, all right, thanks, man. Thanks for filling in. Bye. And he gets his whoever his other regular guy is. And then he's mid. It's unreal. And so I talked to Goggs on Wednesday, and he tells me he's caddying for P. Rog the next 3 weeks. So he's there. He's on the bag this week. And it's a fill-in thing. And I was like, dude, And Goggs needs a bag. And I said, dude, y'all got to get this thing done, man. Like if y'all win this damn thing, there's no way he takes you off the bag considering your record. And they almost won it. So like I don't know what it is about Patrick Rodgers, but if he will commit to Goggs, then maybe he could finally get the breakthrough, because it's something that Goggs does for him that somebody else doesn't do. And that might be the breakthrough he needs. So I don't know. Will Patrick Rodgers, will Denny McCarthy ever get the win? Who knows?
Well, yeah, I don't know either, but I'm certainly not betting Patrick Rodgers at 22-1 this week. I guess
No,
so.
God, no.
No, who would do that?
No. Well, it was interesting to watch. I mean, we'll have to keep an eye on Denny's speed. Denny's speed watch is officially underway. I'm interested. Other than that, it is what it is. I'm glad to move on from Torrey. 2 times in 3 or 4 weeks is enough for me. I mean, I don't love that golf course that much. I really love Riviera, and it's sad that we couldn't go there this year. Looking forward to seeing it again next year. It'll be good. So we turn the page, and here we are in Mexico, which is defended by, like I mentioned earlier, Jake Knapp, your boy toy, the famous bouncer, best biceps on the tour. And John Rahm is one here, and Tony Finau's one here. Tells you about all you need to know. But let's kick it to you and Matt Every, because you guys talked earlier today. Matt couldn't join us tonight, but you guys talked earlier today about the golf course, about his betting woes, and of course the picks that he likes, and a few other things. So let's kick it to them, and then we'll come back with me and you and talk through some picks and some DFS plays.
All right, let's go to our weekly guest. We got Matt Every with us. It's just me and Matt, because DB, I don't know, Matt. I don't know why he's too good to be here on a President's Day for you and I. I mean, it's the Mexico Open. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. So, I don't know if you have any thoughts about DB not being here with us right off the jump, but I am happy to be with you, just you and I together.
Same. We have a nice rapport, Pat. I'm with you though. Like, who works on President's Day, and especially the Monday of a national open? I mean, we're geared up here, ready to roll. DB's, what's he doing? His 9 to 5 today? What's going on?
I guess. I don't know what it is, but I'm leaving here soon. I'm going to go have a margarita and celebrate the national open. So, you got to do it. I wanted to start with this though, Matt, because you mentioned something on our text group earlier about how hard this whole betting thing is. And so as we've gone from Hawaii to the West Coast, and now we're moving our way over to the East Coast, and we'll be in Florida after this week, your neck of the woods. So, what do you think so far? How would you assess your season so far, your TJ season so far, your betting? Like, what have you learned anything? Like, how is this going for you right now?
Fucking terrible. I mean, thank God for football. It's a blast to do. I mean, thank God for Sepp Straka too in Palm Springs, but it's not easy. That's for sure. It's like you could pick a card with 6 to 8 guys outright, sit there Tuesday night, Wednesday afternoon, looking at it like, one of these guys is going to be in the hunt. And then literally Sunday before they tee off, have no shot at all. Some courses are tougher than others. I think some tournaments are tougher to predict than others. This week, not one of them though, Pat. This course, do you want to get into Vidanta?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah. That was going to be my next question. So we can go ahead and get right into it.
I got to play in it the first year they had it there. It's basically just a massive field of paspalum grass. Like, it's hard to mess up off the tee. There's probably like 2, maybe 3 demanding tee shots. Again, you can bail out on one side of them. 10 is a tough tee shot there. 10 and 1 to me are the 2 hardest tee shots. After that, you can, if you're a long guy, you can bail away from the trouble. Let it rip. And then obviously you have paspalum greens as well. I never could figure those out. I hated them. I don't know if you've ever driven a golf cart on zoysia grass when the wheels like wiggle.
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what the ball does on the greens in paspalum grass. It does like this, and it can drive you nuts. Some guys excel on it though. Like a guy like Bryce Garnett. I mean, he's made a living on Pass Palom grass. Pat Perez, Pat won Mayakoba. He won in Malaysia where there's Pass Palom. Garnett wins every other island event we have, Pass Palom. So I do think it's horses for courses a little bit this week. This event as well, Pat. We basically had an identical leaderboard 2 years in a row with Rahm and Fee. Now is going to be like an annuity for those guys. Obviously, neither one are in the field right now. But and I think length is massive this week. And then if you can mix that up with a guy who's putts decent on Pass Palom grass, that's a pretty good combo.
Yeah, I was reading a few quotes by players. Rahm was one of them, and he talked about, you mentioned 10 being a hard driving hole, and he kind of, one thing he said was like, there's just not many hard driving holes out here. He mentioned 10 specifically as a hard one, but I did kind of want to get into Pass Palom and that surface a little bit more because it's not one we see a ton on tour. I mean, maybe just a few weeks out of the year. So as a player, when you get on a surface like that you can't control what the surface is going to be. So do you just kind of deal with it? I mean, there's not any way you can practice on it. Like, what is your mindset going into, something like that, where it's just a grass surface you don't really see a whole lot?
Yeah, you just don't get a lot of looks. You pretty much have to be near the ocean to get past Palom grass. Look, it's the slowest surface we putt by far on the tour. I think it favors an aggressive putter, a guy who kind of just, a lot of conviction in the stroke. It's
So
tough,
a lot
though,
of
man.
putts are kind of left short, you think, if you're
Oh
not.
my gosh, I actually got to do TV for this one either last year or the year before. You've never seen so many putts, left short in your life. Like the whole field. I mean, one day on, I believe it was hole number 1, they had a back pin. It's like a wedge into there if you can hit the fairway, and nobody was getting it to the back, all the way back to the pin. Everybody was coming up 15 feet, maybe 20 feet short. Not one person got the putt to the hole all day. That just doesn't really exist on the tour. It's a frustrating surface to putt on for sure, especially if you don't have a decent track record on Pass Palom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too, I mean, and you talked about it, I mean, this course, it's just so straightforward. I mean, off the tee approach, there's really not a whole lot to it. I mean, is there anything else? Like if we're looking at our models and all
I got
that.
a question. I got a
Yeah.
question about the model. So, okay, I'm looking at the categories right now. OTT, off the tee, ball speed. Totally agree there. Okay, right miss. Does that mean there's trouble left here? So we want a guy with a right miss. Is that what that means?
Yeah, I actually have a note somewhere on that. And that was kind of like the person who gave us some of this information was sort of his, like, if you really want to get into the weeds,
Yeah.
that's sort of what he was talking about. Let me go down to it real quick.
All right. Well, I have a couple more questions.
Okay.
So I know it approached 175, 240 SGP Strix game putting. Now, is that on Pass Palom surfaces? Is that factored in for that?
No, I think what we do on that one, especially on a surface where it's we don't see a whole lot, it's just strokes game putting in general.
Okay. What about BOB? What's that?
BOB would be birdie or better percentage.
Okay.
Just like you have par 5, we have 5 par 5s this week, so we're going to look at birdie or better percentage on the par 5s too. With that many par 5s, I mean, as you know, you got to attack those, and so
Yeah.
we want to at least have that, a little bit in the model there. But yeah, I mean, let me look here what was said. So yeah, I don't. He said that you want to go crazy, right misses off the tee are more penal. So that's why that's in there.
Oh, okay. So you want the left miss. I agree with that, right?
Yeah.
All the trouble there is to the right.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why that's in the model there. But I think, again, that might be getting in the weeds a little bit too much. So.
Pat, look, dude, as far as like resorts the tour goes to, though, this is up there. It's obviously Mexico is not an island, but it's part of the island tour. There's tours within the tour. This is part of the island tour, and it's by far the best place we go to for an island tour event. Vidanta is just a killer. It's a killer venue. You don't have to leave the property. They have a lit par 3 course at night. I mean, can had some great times on that thing. Just a good week it's a great family week.
Yeah, that's what I figured. And there's not like anything
It's-
on the course, right? Isn't it just kind of like isn't it like
Yeah,
kind of
no
hard to get over?
houses, no houses, no nothing. You have to take a little like you're just crossing a little river, basically a boat to the driving range, and then the driving range is right next to the hotel, and then it's kind of laid out a little weird for sure, but yeah, it's a killer spot.
Nice. Well, I mean, I think we should just go ahead and get into the picks, Matt.
Let's do it.
We got, obviously, Akshay's a favorite this week. So I don't know. We'll kind of talk through some of these that you like when it comes to the outrights, and then maybe if you got a few top 20s in those type placement bets.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, Pat. Finau's not here this week, right?
Yep. No, not so far. Doesn't look like
I mean, he would. I feel like he's like auto last two groups on Sunday here if he just shows up.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. A couple outrights I like. Kurt Kitayama this week, 22-1. He will be my shortest. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to take Kurt. Let's pump the brakes there.
I do like Kitty. That 22-1 number.
It's short for him, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like, I did the First Look show this morning in our Discord, and I like Kitty, but I wonder if that number can get a little bit longer. Like I could see it get to 25-1 or 28-1, and then I might even just that little bit might help me fire in on him. But I'm kind of with you on Kitty, but I'm not sure I'm ready to pull the trigger on it yet.
Yeah, I do think there's some value here. Okay, how about this? Harry Hall. I like him. I'm going to go with Harry Hall. 28-1. Kind of short, but we'll see.
You kind of have to hold your nose a little bit with a lot of these guys and where their odds are. So.
A little bit. For some reason, he's sticking out to me here. Thor Bjornsson. I know he has zero form right now too, but I just think as far as the ceiling, his is pretty high. He had some success last summer. I almost feel like this course is idiot proof for him. Like he just can't really fuck up tee to green. And there might be a few guys like that. I like him here. Thor Bjornsson, 55-1. Again, it's kind of a short number, but I don't know. Another guy that kind of stood out to me a little bit here, Pat, Trey Mullinax. Only played here once, but, again, I'm just looking for guys who just mash it off the tee this week, really.
Yeah.
And if they've won before, great. That might help a little bit. A little hesitation on mine with a Harry Hall at 28-1, never winning before. Right? He's never won.
Not that I've seen.
Okay,
He's come
good.
very close.
Sometimes I mess those up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Toasty sticks out to me again here this week. I feel like we're going to get a flyer that could win this week. Jake Knapp, another one, playing really good golf. How do you not take a peek at him at 40-1? I tell you what, I might like Jake better at 40-1 than Kurt at 22-1. Jake's starting to find some form as well. What do you think, Pat? As far as
I love Jake Knapp. I hit him here when he won last year. He was trending. He's trending again.
What'd you get him at last year here?
I think I got him around like 50-1 or so because he had been playing really well. I mean, I would have loved to have gotten a little bit longer, but I'm pretty sure that was about the range where he was when I got him. I think when you look at him too, like even just a top 20 bet, I mean, that feels almost automatic to throw a little bit. I mean, he's almost 2-1 as a top 20 right now on DraftKings. So, I just think the way he's been playing, perfect course fit. I love Jake Knapp again this year. Another guy I was looking at too in this range, and I know DB and I'll get into our picks, but right near Jake Knapp is Alex Smalley. He's kind of one that I've sort of been looking at as well. But we'll see what happens. But and that's just a sneaky one I'm throwing in there for you. But Mullinax is interesting because our folks at Bet the Number actually mentioned Trey. Really? Of all the players in this field, is Trey. Like we never get like an actual mention sometimes of an actual player other than one of the top players in the field. But Mullinax came up. So it's interesting that you also mention his name as well as somebody that could potentially be a good player. So let me dive into that just a little bit, because I think some people may not even know who Trey Mullinax is. He's a very good player, though. What is his profile type that really kind of stands out that makes you think, hey, this is a guy that can come out of nowhere really and win this week?
This was just a right off the top of my head thing, Pat. I wouldn't read too much into this. I just feel like I see Trey Mullinax's name pop up in these, kind of weaker events sometimes. This course pops for him because he's a bomber. Again, it's really hard to make a big number here. It just is one of those courses where length is everything here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree, and I'm seeing Mullinax around like 80-1 or so. But
I got a couple others here, a little deeper. What's that Celinda kid at, Isaiah?
He is
120 to 1 right now.
Yeah, 120 to 1 on DK. Seems to be he came off the Corn Ferry Tour. I don't mind him. Good long shot. There's a lot of long shots in here I think you could fire in on for sure.
Yeah. I'm just taking a peek at these ball speed numbers. Some of these guys don't have enough data to even register in here. How about Hayden Springer? Does that do anything for you? We're looking at long shots right now.
Yes, Hayden Springer is one of my favorite long shots. And you and I will be together on that one. So DB's not here, and so I don't think DB can. I'm not even going to allow him to mention Hayden Springer. That's ours together.
Okay. I love it. Yes. Yeah. Well, and one other thing, Pat, this course, like Sam Balamaki, was it last year that he played decent here?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Right. And pretty much the only time he's popped all year. You're going to get somebody like that this week. And just for me, take a peek at the back half of these odds and look who the big units are that just mash it. There might be something there this week.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Well, good. All right, Matt. Well, I hope you have a good week. I know you'll be in the Discord throwing some plays. By the way, while I'm here and can do the plug for the Discord, everybody, if you're not in our Discord, I don't know what you're doing. We got great stuff in there. Look, it's go to tourjunkies.com, go to the Discord tab, join. $10 a month. It's nothing. You get information from Matt. You get information we got caddy information in there.
You're getting nothing. You're getting nothing but fucking losers from me right now.
Yeah, but it's still.
It's going to turn though. Wait till we get to Florida.
Exactly. We're almost to Florida, Matt. We're almost there. And I see you've got your Gator sweatshirt on too, just to honor that,
baby. And we're making a run.
And troll me just a little bit. So, by the way, I think they have side note. I think they have the best basketball team in the country. I think they're better than Auburn. I think they're better than Alabama. But and SEC is all of a sudden the ACC when it comes to basketball. I'll just throw that in there. I'll give you a little props. I think Florida might be the best team in the country.
Isn't that nuts? I'm with you though. I said it, to some buddies maybe a couple of months ago. Day in, day out, I think we're the best team. And one of my buddy Andrew Medley, caddies for Lee Hodges, he went to Auburn. And I told him that, and he was like, "Oh, you'll get your chance in a few weeks." And then we smoked Auburn at their place. It wasn't even a game the whole time. I sent him that print, the Chappelle Show meme where he's hanging on the back on the rim like this, like he just did a reverse dunk. It's like game blouses.
Yeah, they are looking very good. So, yeah. Well, good luck this week, Matt. We appreciate you, and let's have a good one.
All right, good stuff there, Pat. You did a great job with our boy Matt Every. I have no idea really because I haven't watched it yet, so I'll go back and.
Well, can I apologize in advance because we gave you a little shit at the beginning
about
perhaps in the middle, and at the end we talked about the Florida Gators. So I don't know how all that you let me do it. You let me do it, DB. So that's what happened. And he was wearing a Florida Gator sweatshirt, and
oh gosh.
So no, we were nice to you. We were just like, we didn't know how you were so busy on President's Day. Nobody works on President's Day, but
Well, I apologize. Somebody's got to work around here. Somebody's got to do some stuff around here, and it was me today. So here we are. The season-long bet, we had to go ahead and knock those picks out. So I'll just run through those quickly. You and Matt picked up quite the amount of money last week. It's now become a little bit tighter race. In fact, you have taken the lead in the season-long bet. By the way, folks, if you don't know what's going on with the season-long bet, we are drafting snake draft 2 players every single week, and one of them has to be 50 to 1 or shorter. One of them has to be 150 to 1 or longer. So kind of a favorite and a long shot each week. And then we're just adding up how much money they win each week. And the person with the most money at the end of the season wins. Person with the least amount of money at the end of the season has a punishment price to pay that we have not figured out yet. And who knows when we will, but we need to figure it out quickly. So taking suggestions in the YouTube comments, hit like, hit subscribe if you haven't already done that on YouTube as well. But Pat takes the lead now with about $1.45 million. I'm at 1.43. Matt Every at 919, and producer Tony at 500,000. And this week, producer Tony had the first pick of the draft. He takes Kurt Kitayama as his shorter player. Matt Every follows with Harry Hall. Pat follows with Steven Yeager. I go with Jake Knapp and Will Gordon, Taco Supreme, for those of you in the Discord. Tony goes with David Skins. Matt goes with Harry Higgs, and Pat finishes up with Sammy Valimaki, who almost won here last year, was in the duel with Jake Knapp down the stretch. So those are your season-long selections. Pat, anything else you feel like you need to confess or add to the Matt Every segment before we move on and talk about our favorite bets?
No, I think what you heard from Matt Every is what you and I will probably be talking about a lot here in the next few moments, but it's a pretty straightforward golf course, as you know, from what he talked about. It's really the profile that is the winner is what we saw with a guy like John Rahm, with Tony Finau, and with Jake Knapp. So it's look, I feel better about actually hitting a winner this week than I did last week. I think we can get in that position, and we'll see what happens. But and the weather looks perfect, so I don't really think we're going to have any weather issues at all. It's going to be very similar to what we've had the last few years here. So why do you think Tony Finau is not playing? Is there a reason that we were both kind of wondering why Tony Finau wasn't playing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he just had another baby a couple weeks ago. Maybe he just wants a break before he gets into the Florida swing.
I know, it's just like usually you get a former champion that'll try to be at least consistently going back to a place that he's won on before. But I don't know.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, how many times do you get to go to a different world and play in a world?
And that's a good point. I just remembered something. Matt was talking about how great, like, this is one of the favorite stops on tour the last few years. Matt played here the first time. Back in 2022.
I guess. They were desperate, huh?
Yeah. Sheesh. 2022, he played here. Wow. And I'm assuming, because I think that was the first year they played on this golf.
I got to look that up. That doesn't even sound real.
He said he has played here, and he said it's awesome. He said it's great for the families. They love
it. 2022, missed the cut, shot one over. Way to go, Matt.
Way to go.
He made 8 birdies or better, and he made 8 bogeys or worse.
He basically said to, like, every single driving hole except for 10. I know 10 and like one other hole were hard. I mean, were easy driving holes, and everything. 10 was hard, and everything else was easy.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, I mean, if you look at our friends at Bet the Number, which we're pulling up on the screen right now on the course page for Mexico Open at Vidanta World, you can see fairways are generous here. This is a resort course still, so it's generous. It's not tough for these guys. Fairway and reg number is higher than normal. Greens and reg is about the same, maybe a bump up. Scrambling's not hard, not difficult around the greens here whatsoever. Our Bet the Number boots on the ground said the same thing this morning. You got paspalum grass pretty much wall to wall. So, guys who have some experience on paspalum will help a little bit. But all in all, I don't think it's really all that tough. It's slow and kind of sticky. And again, Pat said weather's perfect, not a lot of wind, shouldn't be an issue. And you can see the last 3 winners have just eaten this place up. These first 2 boxes here on Bet the Number are where the story is told. This is maybe the biggest Bombers Paradise Edge course in the Bet the Number database. They've got this proprietary stat that they calculate every single week, bomb opportunity and short knocker penalty, basically. So if you're 20 yards longer than the average player, what is your bombs opportunity strokes gained per round? And if you're shorter, 10 to 25 yards shorter than average, what are you losing per round? And there's a big gap here and major advantage to the Bombers. Lots of drivers being pulled, as Matt mentioned there. And then the approach shot distribution, you can really see it too. A lot of these mid irons and long irons in the bag. So again, favoring the Bomber, a couple long par 3s. You got 4 par 5s here. The hardest holes on the golf course are these longer par 4s where you still could have a mid to long iron in. especially if you're a shorter hitter. You're gonna have long irons in. So really, it is very much about the distance. The rough penalty is almost non-existent, so you can spray it a little bit and be okay, even with the wide fairways. So, it's not an overly complex course, and there really does seem to be basically one type of dude that could really do well here, unless somebody just goes, unconscious with the putter on past palette. Like looking last year at the leaderboard, like Justin Lauer stands out as a guy who finished T3. And, we know J-Lo, not a bomber, but just cooked on the putting greens, and that's it. But that's just super hard to predict. So
yeah,
the Bet the Number model doesn't weight the putting. My model, which is now public on Bet the Number, doesn't really weight putting all that much. I did add a little bit of it though, just because you got to roll in some putts, make some birdies here. But yeah, it's kind of right there. It's not that hard. Not that hard to figure out. Not a lot of nuance to this thing. It is what it is. So check out Bet the Number if you haven't already. Code TJ gets you a nice discount on a weekly or monthly or annual subscription. You can use and you can get first 7 days free if you like. Give it a shot. See what you think. And try out the best modeling software in the golf betting business. The props tool is fantastic. The matchup tool has helped me go 9-0-1 still. I didn't do any head-to-head matchups last week. Didn't like any, and won't do any this week if I don't like any. But I think I'm going to like some this week. I like these yucky feels. I think we get better, more juicier matchups. So anyway, try Bet the Number. Link in the description. Code TJ will get you a hookup. All right, Pat. Let's talk about some favorite outrights. Let's start at the shortest number you got. Mine is 45-1. That's the shortest number. I'm not touching any of these favorites. I think, we're going to see a birdie fest. I just don't want these names up top at a super short number. I'm just not interested.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, as a matter of fact, we just heard Matt. I think the shortest one he went to was Harry Hall, and that was around 30-1. I will be a little shorter on one guy, and that's Steven Yeager. I do like Yeager a lot this week. He's a guy that this is definitely been his course. I mean, he's played here all three times. He's finished in the top 20 all three times, had a T3 last year. When we did the first look show this morning, he was at 30-1, but he's short. He's getting a little shorter. He's I think 28-1 on DK right now, but I had him at 30-1. I think he's the shortest odds guy that I will go to is Steven Yeager there at 30-1. And after that, it's much longer. I mean, there was some talk about Kitayama, but nobody wants a Kitayama at 20-1.
No.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants a Patrick Rodgers, who's been fantastic here at 22-1 and can't win. Nobody wants Rasmus. Akshay's got question marks. Like, why would we go to any of these guys? I think Yeager is literally the first one you can go to on the short odds.
I completely agree. And while I don't have Yeager, I definitely considered him, and he is the only name shorter than my first name that I would consider. And I agree. Like any of these names up top, it's like if I miss those, okay, I don't care. Like if you don't care, if I miss Kitty at 22, okay. If I miss Rodgers at 22, Michael Kim. I mean, and like Michael Kim is playing great, and I'm glad he's doing well. I'm glad you're doing well, bud. But I don't. No, I'm not going to do it.
I'm not either.
I don't even know that I would tell anybody if I won at 25.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell anyone. And I might even give the money back to the bookie if I did. Hey, let me just break even for the week. You keep the cash. Let's act like this never happened.
We'll forget this ever happened.
Yeah.
Look, I can't admit to my fellow friends and listeners that I actually bet on this fellow.
Yeah. And if M Kim shows up on my betting card, I'm just going to tell people it was a different Kim. I thought it was
that Michael Kim, because he likes social media, like force you to do it. Like he did something he was like, hey, listen, I've never been on a betting card of one of you people that talks about this all the time. Will you just put me on your card this week?
Yeah. Michael Kim got his hand on some questionable, Snapchat I may have sent a few years ago, and he's holding it at ransom until I put him on the Big Balls betting card because he knows that's what he needs to break through, and I had to put it on there.
I'm not putting him on mine, but nobody cares.
No. Okay. My first name is a guy who I've been kind of on a little bit early in 2025 here.
Yes. TB, this is all right. We're starting off good because look,
Those-
I love some Alex Smalley.
Those in the Discord know that's Alex Smalley. Okay. He's number 5 in my model on Bet the Number. 45-1 on FanDuel is the best number you can get for old Alex Smalley. Playing well to start the year. I mean, he's, miscut at the Farmers, but, T16, T11, T21, last 3 out of last 4 events. Isn't like a mauler off the tee, but hits it long enough. And good long iron play, really good long iron play out of Smalley, and can roll the rock and can get up and down. I was looking at around the green play isn't difficult around here, but if you look at the Bet the Number data the last 3 years, like the green and regulation number is tour average, so you're going to have the average number of chips on this thing, and I think a lot of that is those par fives because the par fives are beasts. And some of these longer par fours, if you miss the green in regulation, you got to get up and down, or on the par fives, you got to bank on getting up and down to make a birdie. And when you look at Steven Yeager's performance here the last 3 years, so you just talked about, he ate up on around the green play. And it's not something that I'm like really wanting to weigh into the model, but it's something that can help a lot of guys. Yeager's gained 9 strokes around the greens in 12 rounds here. Since this tournament started coming to Vidanta World. So I think Smalley can do the same thing. He's got a really good short game, good long iron player. He's the first guy on the first click there.
Yeah, I'm with you on Alex Smalley. He was one of mine too that I have written down. So there's agreement there.
Can I give you the next one? Are you done on Smalley? I want to say the next one before you do.
No, because I would like to talk about the next one.
Nikolai Højgaard.
Okay, no, I'll let you have that one. Go
okay,
ahead.
Pat. Why, you know something about being, a twin, like Nikolai and Rasmus. You are an identical twin.
Yes.
Same sack, right?
Well, I don't know if they called it a sack. I think they called it a zygote.
Maybe you should read up on that. You're the twin. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I feel like
it's the egg and the sperm. They look. For those that have kids, and you might want to earmuff them right now, but you have the egg and the sperm, they come together, and there's a whole lot of things go in there, and there's like lightning going off, and there's, stuff, and then you have a zygote, and then the zygote splits. And when you have a common zygote or egg that splits into 2 beings, those are identical twins.
Okay.
What happens if you have a fraternal twins? There's basically 2 separate eggs, I think, get fertilized by 2 different sperm.
Okay.
So I'm cut from the same egg / zygote.
Okay. Well, all right. Thank you for that science lesson real quick. I don't know if I still am not sure if I believe it's accurate, but somebody will fact check us on that.
We know somebody's going to fact check that one.
But you if anybody watches this or listens to this, because it's Vidanta World, I don't know, people might want to break. Something about being an identical twin, and Nikolai and Rasmus are identical twins.
Yeah.
Your DNA is the same. Like, you're literally the same person.
It is the same. Yeah.
And why would I take you at 18-1 when I could have Chris at 50-1? It's the same DNA. Like, this is not even hard. This is an easy question. This is very easy. I'm going to take the guy at almost triple the odds, and I'm taking Chris in this scenario, aka Nikolai. I want Nikolai, bomber, great iron player, solid putter. I'm in on Nikolai at 50. I want all of that. He's played here twice. Not done great, but played here twice. Brother's first time here. I don't know what he's been doing. He's been stuck over there in DP World Tour world.
Yeah.
World. So I'm going Nikolai. That's my next favorite bet.
Okay.
55 is best number you can get.
I actually like that a lot. I think he is he's one that I feel like I talked about so much last year and never could really break through with a victory, but has more experience than his brother, at least on the PGA Tour, not overall. But I think that's a good bet, and I like the number there. I'll just say that I think I'll go ahead and go back to Jake Knapp. he's 40-1. The difference between him on a lot of different books is crazy because he's 40-1 on DK, 41 on FanDuel, 33-1 on BetMGM, and 28-1 I've seen somewhere else. So it's just crazy, like the difference there. But I think Jake Knapp, the way he's playing now, it's very similar to how he was playing going up to, leading up to his win last year, other than he had I think a T3 like the week before, or at least a couple weeks before he played at Mexico. But he's trending in the right direction. I still like the number at 40-1. By the way, Matt and I were talking about this, and what was Jake Knapp last year when I got him? And it was still like 50-1.
It was like 60.
Maybe it was 60.
Yeah.
But so 40-1, I still like that for Jake Knapp. I think he can go back to back. I think he can do that. So
it doesn't feel like a bad value. I definitely gave it a hard look, and I obviously drafted him in the season long bet. It doesn't feel like a bad value. I just and he's obviously playing well. He's had a good couple of weeks. To close it out and win it, defending his first tour event. I don't know. I didn't really. That's why I just quite couldn't get there, but I don't hate it.
No,
I do not hate.
Okay.
All right, I did back-to-back picks. I'll let you go back-to-back for the next one.
All right, DV. I'm bringing up a new name.
No,
I'm bringing up a new name. A guy that, well, maybe we've talked about him before, but he's 60-1 on DK. He was T15 at the Farmers. He is new on the PGA Tour, and I think he's going to be an absolute stud. He is the I think we've pulled up a picture of this guy before, and I think you need to see it. But Aldrich Potgieter.
Oh yeah,
I'm going with Aldrich this week at 60-1.
Yeah, the South African bomber.
Yeah, he was in
contention a couple weeks ago, wasn't he?
We finished T15 at the Farmers. So,
yeah, and he was in better contention. I think he dropped drastically on round 4, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe he did. But bomber.
Yes, he got 6 over on round 4.
Okay, so could have easily finished.
Yeah,
way
he was up there.
I feel like this guy is a stud, and he has all the right intangibles for this golf tournament. 60-1, I think, is a pretty good number, compared to where we are in this field. I wonder if you could get him a little bit longer. He's 70-1 on FanDuel. So, I think he's gonna make the card this week. TV. It'll be the first time he's ever made a card for me.
Probably the highest ball speed in this field at around 191, 192, something like that. He's an absolute mauler. Only like 19 years old too, 20 years old. Yeah. I gave a good look to Potgieter. I don't hate that. I'm gonna jump up to an old friend. On tour, lost it, came back. 90-1 on FanDuel is the best number. Absolute bomber as well. 180 plus kind of ball speed. Trey Mullinax for me is the next bet. Where is he? Okay, here he is. T18 at the Amex, T32 at Waste Management. Played here a couple years ago. T24 the first year they had it. But yeah, I think Mullinax, decent putter, great ball speed, get those long irons going. PGA Tour winner too. PGA Tour winner back in the day. So
let me say this to you, because you didn't hear the interview or the segment with Matt. Yeah. But do you know that Matt brought up Mullinax too?
Oh yeah, he took him in the season long, I think, right?
Or no, we wouldn't let him because it didn't fit the parameters. But I mean, is that not? Because we talked about this a little bit, but we were like, this is crazy, because Mullinax came up, and then we had some of our boots on the ground with BTN mention Mullinax. So there's a lot of Mullinax talk this week.
Yeah. Must be feeling it.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't mind it. I still want to go back a little bit shorter to Justin Lauer, who I know you mentioned earlier too. I think Justin Lauer, who's got a great history here. Well, he's finished 64th the first time in T3, but coming off a T3 at the Amex a few weeks ago, he's had a great year so far. Great fall. I think I want to play some Justin Lauer there at 65-1 also.
I think I'm out on that one. I mean, I hope he wins. Love him. Hope he wins.
Yeah.
I think I'm out. Bombers only for DB this week. I am going to go to another friend of the show, who has shockingly done something that he has not done since 2021. He has gained strokes in 3 consecutive tournaments putting. He always gains strokes off the tee. He's a PGA Tour winner, and his name is Luke List at 120-1. I have not had a sprinkle of Luke List in quite some time, and it's coming back this week. Luke is on the card. 120-1 for a PGA Tour winner, guy like Luke that can bomb it. Putting now and actually, I just went to look back at the last time he gained three strokes putting in a row in 3 events, like any amount of putting, any amount of strokes. And the time in 2021, it was like 2 weeks where like there was less than a stroke he gained. In the last 3 weeks, he's gained 3.4, 2.2, and 2.2. He's had like nice weeks putting. Could he have figured it out? I don't know. He's a terrible putter, perennially bad putter. But if he's figured something out, I think the par 5s here, the par 4s, he'll have mid irons or short irons into all the beast par 4s. I think Luke has a chance at 120-1.
Okay.
I skipped one. I forgot one. Go ahead. I got one more.
Well, I've got one more too, and I love this one. I think Hayden Springer is very much in play this week. Yeah, he's 100-1 on DK. I've seen him a little bit longer in other spots. Missed a cut at the Phoenix Open, but had a 6th place finish at the Farmers. I feel like this could be a good spot for Hayden Springer. I like the odds there a little bit longer. And he's played here. Didn't he have a decent record here too? Am I missing that?
Let me look at Springer. He's only played here last year, T38.
Okay. Yeah, T38 last year. But still, he's 12th in your model, because I actually have your model pulled up, DB.
Oh, look at that.
He's 12th in your model, and really solid across the board in a lot of areas here. So Hayden Springer at 100-1 will be probably one of the longest odds guys that I'll go to as far as an actual outright winner.
Luke is mine at 120, so that's the longest. But I forgot another one at 90 on FanDuel. I'm going Matty Schmidt at 90.
Okay.
Just again, long hitter, 180 ball speed, pretty decent putting at numbers. Iron play can be a little sus at times. BTN's got that very interesting little nugget this week about favoring a certain side of the fairway. He checks out really nicely on that. And he's just got a lot of boomer bust potential, I think. And he's come close. I mean, he's got 2 T3 finishes on the PGA Tour, the most recent one in the fall at the Shriners at T3. But he's done well on some of these coastal courses. Like 3 of his best, three of his best 7 finishes. One was the Butterfield Bermuda, one was the Puerto Rico, and one was Corrales. So like 3 of his top 7 finishes were these coastal kind of birdie fest, Pass Palom similar conditions. So I think Matty Schmidt is in play at 90.
Yeah. Okay. He was off the board on DK earlier, so maybe they just didn't know what to do with him.
Yeah, he's on 90-1 on FanDuel. That was the longest number. Okay, let's talk about top 20s, 6-pack and locks. The 6-packs was the locks were tough because similar to the outrights, like I don't think anybody up like super short numbers is necessarily even a lock. Like Akshay's not a lock. Kitayama's for dang sure not a lock. So I'm going a little lengthier here. I actually have Jake Knapp because I wanted some Jake Knapp, but I didn't have him outright like you did at plus 190. And then right there next to him, I'm taking Nikolai of the Nikolai zygote at 2-1. So those are my 2 locks. And then I'm going Willie G, Taco Supreme, 4-1. If you know in the Discord. Will Gordon, 4-1, top 20. That's the long shot for this week.
Okay. All right. Well, I've got to go with Steven Yeager as my first top 20. Seeing him around plus 125. I think Yeager, I mean, look, he's finished top 20 every year he's played here. So I feel like that's a pretty good bet to make. And then I'll go with one that I go with one that Matt mentioned also, Harry Hall. Seeing him around plus 150, I think, decent number for him. Feel like he could get a top 20. He's a solid player for this field. So I think Harry Hall's one of the guys that we should look at. And then I'm just going to go long shot here because there's nobody else I really want to go to. And so I'm going to go with Mr. Cristobal del Soler. DB. Del Soler, who I'm seeing at 12-1 as a top 20. He has played here. This will be his third time. He missed a cut the first time, finished T48 last year. I think we could see something out of him this week. So just as a gut feel, and so I'm going to go with Cristobal del Soler.
Dale Soler.
Come on, Dale Soler. Come on, Dale Soler. Win the Vidanta world.
All right, let's talk through some DFS pivots. We'll get out of here. I want to remind you to check out our friends at SoBet if you have not already. We're cooking over there. We're now up. I want to say for the season now, it's probably lost last week, but we only spent like a unit and a half. So we're probably up like 16 units, 15 units on the season on 2025 on SoBet. Exclusive bets dropping every single week. Get in there and get involved. Plus, you have 60 to 70 plus other highly qualified, vetted handicappers from every sport imaginable, putting out plays every single day. All the bets are tracked. You can see units wagered. You can see won or lost records, all that good stuff. So you get good handicapping information from really qualified handicappers. That's what you get on SoBet, and it's dirt cheap. And if you use our link in the description, the code TJ2025 pre-fills, and you get the first month for just $1. You can cancel at any time, but give it a shot. Our friends at SoBet hooking us up on year 3 with the Tour Junkies. So if you like us, if you want to support us, support our friends at SoBet, give it a look. DFS pivots, Pat. Because I'm not playing any chalk. I can tell you that. There's not a piece of chalk in here I want. None of it. Even the guys that I like that I mentioned here, none of them I'll be taking if they're highly owned in DFS. Do you have? There's Jaeger, your guy, and if Jaeger's 15%, are you playing Jaeger?
Yeah, I think I could play Jaeger. I think he
20%?
may be a little bit chalky, and I could put him in there, but he's about the only chalky player that I'm looking at. Here's one I'm interested in though, because I think you know this gentleman. He's at 9,100. Bo Hostler. Do you think Bo is going to be chalky?
I don't know. I think he's kind of a fringy. I don't have a good read on that one. So maybe not.
Because he's playing really well, and he's played here once with the top 10. I think if he's got a less than 15% ownership, I would be all about some Hostler this week.
Yeah, he would be one I'd look at. If it's I still don't know if I want a 13% $9,100 Hostler, but I don't really see starting any lineups until the 8K range. I'm gonna have kind of a balanced approach, but I've got some 6K guys I like too, but I like the upper 6Ks and I like everything up until the 9K range. But I can't imagine playing all these guys when I could just load up on. I really like Kevin Yu down here at 8,800. I know I talked about Kevin Yu last week because he was a top 10 long shot at plus 850, finishes T17, playing well, checks a lot of boxes here. I like Kevin Yu. I don't know how popular he will be, but I do like him. Obviously, my boy Nikolai's down there. We'll see what kind of love he gets. Smalley's up there. I think he'll get some love. A name that we have not talked about, that are actually a couple names in the 7K range we've not talked about that I like. Patrick Fishburne. There's a trio here in the upper 7s. Patrick Fishburne, Jesper Svensson, and Chan Kim. All pivot potential names for me. All bombers. This Jesper kid is a new stud. A graduate from, I think, DP World Tour. T10 at the Sony, hits it muy far. And hasn't had the great finishes, but if you look at the strokes gain numbers, if it's very close. It's not like he's losing a ton of strokes somewhere. Now, he did lose 6.5 strokes putting at the Waste Management. That was over, that's tough. But had shown promise with the putter in the 3 events leading up before that. Like, I think this kid's kind of a stud. Patrick Fishburne, we've seen pop a little bit already. Top 10 at the RSM, T6 to open up his year at the Sony. And then, of course, Chan Kim is kind of a guy that I've always kind of been on a little bit. Good ball striker, just needs the putter to get going, and Chan Kim could do some damage. T8 here last year, so I like those 3 as potential low-owned guys in the upper 7s.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fishburne was definitely one I looked at. Kind of glanced over Kim, but it certainly makes some sense. I think Carson Young's in here at 7,700. He's kind of a course horse with a T15 and a T8 the last 2 years that he's played here. Had a T29 at the American Express, T57 at the Waste Management. So I think, right there at 7,700, Carson Young's playing well. He's 40th in your model. I do like him. Outside of that, and what you've already mentioned, I think, Potgieter, again, is 7,300. I think he's one that's going to be certainly low owned. Just not a whole lot of people know him yet. And I'll go back.
I think you're wrong about that.
You think he's going to have some?
Yeah, I've seen Mayo talk him up. I've seen, I know our boy Byron over at the Fantasy Golf Degenerates, South African. I've seen him post pictures of Potgieter. So I think you get a little love in DFS, but we'll see.
We'll see, too. Yeah, you might. By the way, one of the great things about the Nut Hut is we get ownership projections in there. They'll come out probably either tonight or tomorrow, and then we'll have a second round of those ownership projections that'll come out Wednesday before the Wednesday night chat. So we'll get those in there and we'll figure it out. Lanto Griffin's another one. He's at 7,300. I've liked him
Lanto for you, isn't it?
I am just such a big Lanto fan this year. But look, he's played well. So I think at 7,300, he could be another one that we look at. And if you want like a big bomb or two, you just got to go with Chris Goddard at 7,200.
I'll take instead of Chris Goddard, I'll take Chris Ventura at 73.
Okay, yeah.
Love seeing this guy back on tour. When he first came out on tour a few years ago, we were doing shows, and I loved him then. Oklahoma State product. Big fan of that kid. Hits it a mile. Really like him a lot. And then you've got Mullinax is down there, and even Alejandro Tosti. We know Tosti loves to send it, hits bombs. He's going to be boomer bust, like he's been here 2 years in a row. T10 or a miscut. Who knows? You could get either Tosti. So probably not going to get anything in the middle. I like that. And then in the 6K range, it's guys like lower range Schmid, Luke List, who I've already mentioned. You mentioned Springer. I mentioned Will Gordon as a bomb top 20. I like him down there at 6,800 too.
Yeah, and I think you could go. He's my guy on the season-long bet. So Sami Välimäki, with the second place finish last year here, and he was T15 a couple weeks ago at the Farmers. So a little bit of form there for Sammy.
You know who caddied for him?
Goggs, who just caddied for Rodgers, and you talked about. So yeah,
how this guy can't get a full time?
It just makes no sense.
All right. Good show, good stuff. Hope everybody enjoys the Mexico Open at Vidanta World. Have a great week. Bend over your bookie and make your screens be green. See ya. Out. Tour Junkies featuring David Barnett is not an affiliate of CWM LLC. Opinions expressed by the host or guests do not reflect those of CWM LLC. CWM LLC does not endorse gambling or the entities promoted by the Tour Junkies podcast. David is a non-registered representative of CWM LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.